Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to another episode of the New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I am 50% of the hosting, Niall.
And I'm 49% Nolan.
And we are here to tell you, or to review, rather, a movie about a little band.
You may have heard of.
Well,
little indie band.
They have like this sort of short or like small cult following.
Yeah.
You know. But they really interesting story revolving around their lead singer, Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. So the movie is called Bohemian Rhapsody for unknown reasons.
Yep. Can't figure it out.
Can't figure that one out.
It is a mystery. I think they might have had a song or something.
Yeah, it might be one of their
album.
One of their songs, maybe.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of a big deal in England. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna be doing a normal thing where we do spoiler-free review, and then give you spoiler warning and go more in depth into it. Not that there's a lot to spoil about the life of Freddie Mercury. I think pretty much, I think 100% of the world knows he was gay and died of complications from AIDS.
That's not really a big part. The gay thing is, but the AIDS thing comes in just the very end of the movie.
Well, it was the
very end of his life.
Very end of his life. He only lived like a few years after he found out, or a couple of years, right?
He died in 91, I think.
Yeah, so a few years, I think.
It's only like 6 more years after.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
5 or 6 years after he found out.
Yeah, so anyway, so this movie is a biopic. Some of you might know that word as biopic, but you're wrong. It's in fact a biopic about Freddie Mercury and his 4 extra teeth.
And then also, it does delve into somewhat a little bit of the rest of the band, but mostly focuses on Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. And it tells his life from when he...
Basically from when he met the band.
Yeah.
And joined the band, and then they were called something Smile or...
I don't know if the band was called Smile, and then they just had like posters with the tagline "Don't forget to smile," or if the band was called "Don't forget to smile." I think the band was just called Smile, because you want a short name for a band if you can help it.
Yeah, well, when he joined, it shows a little bit of that. He sort of turns things around, and his talent really brings the rest of the band up, and they change the name and go from there, and the rest is history. There might be stuff like little details in here you didn't know about, but overall, this is a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the movie quite a bit.
There is
all the performances are really good in it.
Yeah, all the acting is great. Coughing up a piece of popcorn there. We literally just came from the movie theater at the time we're recording this. There we go. I think I got it out. Anyway, so yeah, it follows Freddie Mercury and the ups and downs of his life. A lot of downs. Frankly, like everything after they became famous is kind of a depressing thing.
There's a few ups, but yeah, there's a lot of depressing stuff, but it kind of ends on a high note.
Yeah. Well, it's not... It's something that's sort of recurring with, it seems like, with these really big-name talents who are, like particularly gifted individuals, is there always seems to be someone in their life that, like, manipulates them to their own end.
Yeah.
And it ends up, really hurting them, and they don't realize they're being taken advantage of. Yeah, and that's a big part of the movie. Don't want to get too much into that, but that's.
You might already know this if you're like a big fan of Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, and Queen, because it caused problems for the band. But There's definitely some parts of this movie where you're heart breaks over watching these things happen to this man.
Yeah.
And watch him get take advantage of, or watch him go through these depressing periods. But it's all really well done. I mean, the acting is great. There's a good amount of humor, like, enough so that like an appropriate amount of humor.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a comedy, but
No.
there's some moments of levity to break the tension and stuff. Yeah, you gotta say, this guy Rami Malek plays Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
He does this like great job. I guess he trained with like a some sort of like choreographer and movement coach to get like the mannerisms of Freddie Mercury down and the way he walked and moved and everything. And he had a lot of like really funny lines because he was a real witty person in real life, and so just a lot of these lines are good, but little quips here and there, and then a lot of they kind of progressed the movie in segments. It was interesting by introducing new songs that everyone's familiar with, but they would, as the band progressed, they would they'd introduce a new song and sort of like be a new sort of era of Queen.
Right.
And that's how they like moved the eras forward.
Yeah, it was really really interesting how they did that. Where the important parts of their life happen in between tours, mostly, and so they would sort of break it up. They show them coming up with a new song for a new album, and then they tour, because that's what bands do. They come up with an album, and then they tour to promote the album. And so it shows them writing songs, recording, pitching an album to the record label, and then they have this sort of montage that is a tour, showing them on stage in different stadiums, and the names of the cities they're playing in going by, and then when that montage is done, it's a new era. Freddie has a new haircut. Maybe their clothes are updated a little bit, and then by the end of it, the movie culminates. I don't think this is a spoiler, but the movie culminates in their appearance at Live Aid, which, if you are at all a fan of Queen and classic rock, you have seen pictures of it at least.
Yeah, the image that is like in everyone's head of Freddie Mercury is him wearing those tight blue jeans with the white tank top and the buzzed haircut
and the armband
on stage with his microphone raised in the air. That's from Live Aid, and that was this big benefit charity concert that was there's like 3 different cities and broadcast all over the world, and all the proceeds went to help people starving in Africa, Ethiopia in particular, I think.
Right. So
it was in 1985, so
yeah, the movie culminates in that though, and so all the when someone says Freddie Mercury, the image you picture in your head, that's from that concert. But it's just this interesting story following this man from nothing. I mean, he was a
baggage handler at the airport when he met the band.
Yeah,
and he goes to he goes to a show at the college he's attending, and because they're just playing like little
in the on-campus pub.
And he really likes them. And
he mentions he'd been following them for a bit. Gone to, which that's, if you really pay attention at the beginning of the movie, it says something about Freddie Mercury that is a theme for the rest of the movie. Is when he gets home from work, he gets in and his mom's putting dinner on the table, and he says, "I'm not hungry," and he gets his coat on, and she says, "You're going out again? Who with this time?" And he says, "Oh, just some friends." and he goes to the show, and
he's alone.
He's
by the way.
alone. Yeah, he goes to this bar alone, and he mentions to the band that he's been following them for a bit, and he likes their songs, which means he's been telling his mom he's going out with friends, but he's really just going to attend this band show alone, and that sort of like clearly lonely person that he is a continuing theme for the rest of his life.
Yeah, we won't spoil too much, but
No,
yeah, that's
it's
after the show he goes to meet the band. So.
Yeah, I really liked that comment because that combined with everything else that had happened. I mean, that's not a spoiler. It happens like the first 10 minutes of the movie or something like that. But that, if you pay attention to that little line, like already starts building this, the personality and the mentality that he has. To continue through the rest of the movie.
Yeah. So, I definitely recommend this movie.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of Queen or classic rock in general.
It has all the Queen songs you could want except for the Flash Gordon theme.
They didn't mention... Because the Queen did the soundtrack for several movies and it never brought any of those up.
Yeah.
But yeah, but other than that... it's got like every...
It has the rest of Queen's greatest hits in the movie.
Yep. So, go see it. Definitely go see it.
Actually, I don't think... Did it have Seven Seas of Rye in there?
Yeah, it did.
It did? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, it's been stuck in my head since we left the theater.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was in the movie.
They played it a little bit over a montage, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't think any of the songs were played, like, in
their
full.
entirety, no.
Well, you might have heard the entirety of Bohemian Rhapsody in
but
segments,
broken
like,
up
as they're recording it and as they're playing
yeah,
it for
but
the record label.
It's broken up because it shows them like recording different sections of it, or they play little sections of it at concerts and stuff. And so I think you might have heard the entire song over the course of the movie, but it's all just broken up and scattered. So yeah, I don't think we have any more to talk about without spoiling it.
Yeah, definitely go see this movie. It's probably the best movie that's in theaters right now. Because, I mean, what else is there? There's Nutcracker, there's Overlord, which we haven't seen yet, which, I mean, come on, there's no way that movie's better than this. Maybe The Girl in the Spider's Web. I don't know. But
this is a very good movie.
Very excellent movie. Our theater was packed. Every seat filled in our theater. So, go see it. If you haven't already. Spoiler part now? Spoiler warning?
Spoiler warning.
Alright.
So, back to the thing about how lonely he is. There's a big overarching theme in this movie that Freddie Mercury doesn't have many friends. And the ones he does have, he doesn't necessarily realize are his friends, or he has people in his life that he thinks are his friends that aren't.
I kind of get the idea that he always felt like, I mean, he mentions in the movie he always felt like an outsider. He was his family's Indian.
Yes,
who fled. I guess it must have been Indian near the Pakistani border.
They said they fled persecution from Muslims.
Yeah, to Zimbabwe?
Zanzibar? No, not Zanzibar.
Somewhere in Africa, right?
Yeah, anyway, they wound up in England.
Yeah. And so he always felt like an outsider, and so he never really had friends. So I think he might have had a misconception of what it meant to be a friend and have what it meant for someone to be your friend.
Yeah, it took him a long time to realize that the rest of the band, they were his friends,
despite how much they argued and bickered about things.
Mary Austin, who's a woman that he was actually engaged to before he realized he was gay. She was a friend, and he had a friend there at the end of his life, a guy named Jim. And they were friends, and I guess it said at the end during the credits that that guy and Mary became friends too, or...
Yeah, I think so. But Yeah, so he gets ends up getting manipulated though by
Paul, right?
Prenter,
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this
who
guy.
who he thinks is a friend.
He was like worked for them as a recording engineer or something, right?
Yeah.
He worked for the band in some capacity, but he was they became lovers, and he was just using Freddie for money, basically.
Yeah, and he was he was screening Freddie's calls, not letting people get a hold of him about things, so that when finally Mary shows up in person, he's living in Munich at the time. When she shows up in person, he has this revelation that this man who he thought was a friend of his didn't have his best interests in mind.
Yeah.
And so finally pushes him out of his life and makes it a point to make amends with the band, which he, they broke up for a bit as he went on a solo career.
Yeah.
But that he was manipulated into it.
Right.
So
one thing I thought was interesting, and usually in movies about the entertainment industry, it's usually like the manager or someone who's the bad guy, and really the lawyer that worked for the band and the manager, who's Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They had the band's best interest at heart from the get-go and never tried to push them into anything they didn't want to do, never tried to manipulate them in any way. They were just, because they're like, well, this first of all, they're fairly honest people for those types, and why mess with something that's working? Queen was huge.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then they even stood up for the band against the record label.
Right.
That was they wanted Queen to like do
the record label played by Mike Myers.
And that was funny. We didn't even realize it was Mike Myers at first.
Well, he has this weird beard.
He has these big sunglasses and a beard on.
You can't even see half his face.
But it's funny because they want to make Bohemian Rhapsody a single, and he's like, they'll never play Bohemian Rhapsody on the radio.
No one will
ever sit in their car headbanging to Bohemian Rhapsody.
Which is already kind of funny because he conjures up images of Wayne's World.
Yeah. But then when you realize it's Mike Myers,
from the movie
Wayne's World,
then it's extra funny. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. And that whole scene in his office, they show part of it in the trailer. It was really well done and really funny. And then at the end during the Live Aid concert, when it cuts to him sitting in his office and the concert's playing on the radio,
because he had they had dropped him because he refused to do what they wanted, and
he refused to. So the band refused to make the single not be Bohemian Rhapsody. He wanted You're My Best Friend as the single, because the singles are what get played on the radio as promotion for the album.
Yeah. He wanted that. At first he wanted I'm in love with my car. Which is kind of this running gag. Like, what's the sexiest part of a car?
Yes.
But he wanted that. Then he wanted You're My Best Friend.
And they were demanding Bohemian Rhapsody be the single, and he's saying it's too long, no radio will play it. And so they only did this. They only had the one scene where this happened, where the band shows up to a radio station, or Freddie Mercury's being interviewed by the DJ, and he pulls out the single with Bohemian Rhapsody, which I think was on the B-side actually.
Yeah, it was.
And he's like, oh, this is a preview. I'm not supposed to let you play this, and that's of course tantalizing to get the exclusive, get to play this song. Oh, it's for, not even supposed to be playing it. and so they play it. And it doesn't go over this, but this happened in real life. They like leaked the album to radio stations. It told them they weren't supposed to play it, so naturally they played it, and people were calling the record label asking where they can buy Bohemian Rhapsody in droves. Like huge number of people were contacting them asking where they can buy Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's how that song got published as a single. And that happened in real life. But
it didn't go over that part of it.
Yeah, but that's how that song got.
But it did cover how music critics didn't like the song.
Yeah, briefly it goes over that.
Yeah, sort of. It shows just like this sort of montage of headlines and stuff about it, and
yeah, like headlines and quotes about the yeah. So it's, which I mean, as everyone knows, is like arguably the most famous rock song ever.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah,
I mean, it's
there.
weird. It's weird to even call it rock. I mean, Queen is a rock band, but they go over it a lot in the movie, saying like, well, they do a lot of experimenting and weird stuff, and you know, they make weird,
opera.
Yeah, they make weird music for weird people. Basically, is sort of their
but and it's funny they're trying to explain it to the record label, and even like their manager and their lawyer are like getting behind it, like no, this is good stuff. You gotta listen to what they're saying. This is, this is Queen. This is great.
So yeah, they it ended up, like I said, it ended up being one of the most famous rock songs ever. It's one of the few songs that you can start playing and like the majority of the people in the room will be able to sing along to it, you know. So
yep. But yeah, the movie ends basically with the live. It ends with the Live Aid concert, and then it fades into a little message about when he died and everything.
The charity that was formed in his name.
It was the
Jim and the band, or Mary and the band.
It was
or was the lawyer.
It was the lawyer and Brian May.
Yeah.
They formed a band together, and it was like it was the Freddie Mercury Rising Phoenix charity or something like that. I don't remember, but it was a AIDS research charity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole. I mean, it's about the life of fairly well-known life of a pretty well-known person. So.
Who was, I found out from you earlier, just on our way home from the theater, was almost played by Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, I knew about this a while back when they first started making the movie. They had cast Sacha Baron Cohen,
which is just the worst.
Yeah, so for like, I know that several, like, I know Brian May and someone else, I don't know if it was the whole band or just Brian May, or anyway, he didn't want him because he didn't even like Sacha Baron Cohen as in the role to begin with, because he's like, well, he just associates him with comedic acting.
Yeah.
If that what you can call what Sacha Baron Cohen does. But then Sacha Baron Cohen wanted to focus on just like the lowest parts of Freddie Mercury's life and just really just dive into like just the darkest, lowest points in his life. And the band didn't want that. They wanted the movie to, yeah, you can have some of that stuff because that was a big part of his life, but they wanted it to be more an uplifting story about the life of Freddie Mercury, who they, was a dear friend to them. And so Cohen left the project. Thankfully, I don't think I would have enjoyed that movie as much. And I don't like Sacha Baron Cohen, so there's that too.
Yep. So, thank
goodness.
But
I remember reading about that a while back. Might have been a couple years ago when they first started work on this.
Yeah. So, let's see. I guess tomorrow. Are you editing this tonight?
Maybe.
So tomorrow or the day after. I don't know.
Sometime in the near future.
In the next day or two, the next review is going to be Overlord, which is that's a Metascore of 57.
It looks fun though.
Yeah. It looks pretty pulpy, but it's zombie Nazis or zombie mutants or whatever. Looks pretty pulpy. And then next week is Crimes of Grindelwald. And then the week after is Ralph Breaks the Internet, Creed 2, Robin Hood, and Green Book, all of which we want to see and plan to review. Well, okay. I want to see Robin Hood and Green Book. We're probably going to see Creed 2, and we're definitely going to see Ralph Breaks the Internet. So, yeah, we plan to review all of those. That's Thanksgiving week, so we might be able to find the time to work that in. And then we start getting into December, which, there's a lot of Oscar bait that month. Mary Queen of Scots actually looks like a pretty well done movie, so I'm interested in seeing it. But like Ben is Back looks pretty Oscar baity. I don't care to see it. Capernaum, however you pronounce that. Same deal, looks pretty Oscar baity. I have no desire to see it though. But definitely plan to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and The Mule and Mortal Engines, which is all the same week. We're gonna see Aquaman, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that movie looks terrible.
And Bumblebee, that movie looks better.
Yeah.
Probably see Mary Poppins Returns. I have to take Mom to see that. I'm on the fence about Marwen. Welcome to Marwen.
I haven't seen enough about that to like make a decision. It looks weird.
Yeah.
Like it looks like something that would have come.
Looks Oscar baity too.
It does, but it kind of like looks like something that would have come from what's his name did Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, man, and Life Aquatic and shoot, I can't remember.
And that commercial on that train, like Christmas commercial from last year.
Oh yeah.
Was that last year?
Yeah. Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson, yeah, there we go. Anyway, it looks like something that would have come from the mind of Wes Anderson. But no, things aren't like framed like perfectly, so you know it's not. I mean, it's also Robert Zemeckis. So, I mean, it'll probably be a good movie. Robert Zemeckis, starring Gwendolyn Christie and Steve Carell. You know, I mean, it's pretty sure bet there, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Holmes and Watson, hard pass.
It looks really bad.
Every time I see a movie starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, I just look at every time I see a trailer, because I don't see movies starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. I look at the trailers though and I go, you can do better, John C. Reilly. Because I know he can. Because when he's in a movie without Will Ferrell, he's good. Probably gonna see Vice.
But they're like best buddies.
I know they're like best buddies. We're probably gonna see Vice. And that should round out the year for us. Man, we only got like 6 weeks left in the year. 7 weeks, something like that. What are we at? Oh man, gotta start doing Christmas shopping, Nolan. 7 weeks left in the year, and it's 7 weeks left in the year and like 12 movies to see or something like that. So it'll be a busy last month and a half for us. And
a lot to do and not enough time to do it.
Pretty much, lots of. Basically, though, we like seeing movies. We like reviewing movies, so. We'll do it anyway. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll find a way.
Life finds a way.
Yep. So that's what we got coming up. We just posted a review for Nutcracker and the Four Realms. You can go check that out if you want to know why you shouldn't see that movie. Or if you want to, like Nolan, whenever he has just like really bad experience of something, he goes and looks up other people's opinions on it to confirm that he has the correct opinion on something.
No, I have to confirm that everyone else has the correct opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you want to...
No, actually, I read after every movie we see. I go and read reviews after the fact.
Yeah.
I don't read reviews before. But I see what other people's opinions on movies I see are, just to see what other people think of it.
Yeah.
See if I'm in the majority or not.
But so I mean, if you wanna confirm your own bad opinions on that movie, go check out that review. And yeah, so we got coming up. What was the last thing we did before that? It's always weird for us to redo a.
What's funny is every time we're like, oh yeah, last movie we did was this, and we always are wrong by one.
Except we know, unless it was one we did the previous day.
Yeah.
Which in this case was we did Nutcracker yesterday.
Yeah. But this will be our 69th one.
Yes. Awesome. So, yeah, and it's weird for us to do a bad review of a movie because we like going to movies, like to the movie theaters. We will find something we'll find a reason to go if there's not something obvious that week, like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie, of course we're gonna go see it, But if there's movies that we'll have just a passing interest in and go see it anyway, because if we want to go see a movie, that's the only option. But we don't see movies that we look at and go, I'm not going to like this movie. This is going to be a bad movie. So it's weird for us to do a bad review of a movie.
I've only had a few. I think the first one that we just flat out was a bad movie was The Mummy.
Yes. That might have been... Did we review Suicide Squad?
Yeah, but...
Was that...
I think The Mummy was before that.
I don't remember, man.
I don't know.
Yeah. It always feels weird.
But at least in the Suicide Squad, we had some good stuff to say about it.
Yeah, Margot Robbie in short shorts.
Basically, the first 20 minutes of that movie is pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's weird for us to give a bad review of a movie. Always is. And it always feels weird. Man, a lot of people worked really hard on this movie. A lot of money got spent. I'm just gonna shit all over it. And a lot of money was spent on that movie. So
yeah, well, if you don't tell them it's bad, they'll never learn.
That's true. So tell Disney that Nutcracker was bad by not going to see it, not giving them money for it, and tell 20th Century Fox, who is soon to also be Disney, that this movie was really good by going to see it and giving your money to it.
Yes, go see Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, if you haven't already. It is an excellent movie. So, yeah. Till next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.